Hello, welcome to today's episode of the Physio Practice Success Show. My name is Chaz Rashi and I'm an ex-physio, multiple practice owner and the founder of physiomarketing.co. So, in today's episode, we are going to cover the 5 biggest reasons why a physio practice loses new patients. Quite a big topic. Let's get going. Well, we'll dive straight into it. Reason number 1 is because of a poor website. Now, what I mean by this is there's several reasons for this, but the first and foremost, from working with clients and seeing the websites that are out there, the biggest thing is that the actual website tends to typically be old and outdated. And I'm talking about in terms of styling, appearance, in terms of how it's structured. There's a good, what they call a Google webmaster's way of building a website. So we find that a lot of websites out there are not built according to those, specific standards. Now, I'm not going to go into exactly what those standards are now. Maybe we could do that in another video. But basically, it's not according to standards which Google like to rank on SEO and Google Ads and that kind of thing. Right, so the biggest thing is that it's old and outdated. It's very, very important that you get your website up to scratch and standard in terms of look and feel and functionality, because your website is the online brochure that new patients or potential new patients will come to have a look at before they book with you. So it's very, very important to have a new functional website for today. That's a big thing, right? And the second thing is that the actual website tends to be built on hard to manage platforms. Now, a platform is, you may have heard of WordPress, right? WordPress is what we prefer for a platform because it is the one that is easily manageable, easily modifiable, and the one that is most SEO friendly, as well as, general marketing and advertising friendly as well, because it's just very, very versatile. So what we find is there's quite a few other platforms out there, just in case you didn't know. There's Joomla, there's Wix, there's a whole raft of other platforms. But what the best one is WordPress, right? So make sure that you take the time to, if your website is not already on WordPress, take the time to migrate over, because moving forward, it's going to be so much easier for you to manage, right? And the third reason behind the poor website is poorly visible call to action. All right. Now, call to action is, as you might know, it's what do you want somebody who visits the website to do? What's the first thing? And typically, what a call to action is, when you land on someone's website, your website, it should have a button as to what you want them to do. Whether it is make an inquiry, call us, or book an appointment, or whatever that is. You need to have a call to action. Now, you probably already knew that, but the biggest thing is it's a poorly visible call to action, right? We like to use what we call a squint test, meaning that if you have your website in front of you, right, you should be able to see your call to action button when you squint, right? So if you squint and you just see the general website in front of you, you should clearly be able to see your call to action button. That's how important it is. All right, because it's the main thing you're getting new patients or visitors to do. So get the call to action button very, very visible. Right, and performance on mobile. This is a big thing, right? It's been some time now that mobile usage and inquiries coming through mobile has been ramping up over the last few years, and it's going to keep going up. Right, so with our clients, when we work through their website, we have a look at, is it mobile responsive? It's a very, very important thing. And not just mobile, pretty much all device responsive. Is it going to work well on tablet? Is it going to work well on mobile? Right? And obviously a desktop as well. And one little secret ingredient that is often missed is a chat widget. Now, it doesn't cost you any extra to get this added onto your website, but when you have that on, it can increase the number of inquiries and new patients, maybe 2, 3, 5%, right? All at no real additional cost. It'll just cost you the actual chat widget by itself, right? The monthly fee that's gone for it. That's pretty much the only cost, but just having it there, it allows your new patients to chat with you, send you messages outside of working in clinic hours as well. It's very, very important. So, and we make sure that whenever we have clients and when we help them with their website, that this becomes a core part of their actual website. So that's reason number one, poor website. What's reason number two? It's an outdated appointment booking process. Now, it's not a secret that, people are having less and less time on their hands, or less and less time that they're willing to spend on anything really, right? Let alone your website. Because, what you're competing with when somebody comes into your website is not just your competitor's website, it's every single thing that they can click off to, whether it be Netflix, whether it be Spotify, a crazy YouTube video, whatever, right? Their attention's being pulled in so many directions. So what you really want to do is make the process very, very simple for them. And part of that is having an online booking process, right? We find a lot of practices that we work with. This is one of the first things that we try and get them to do and put in place. Because when you have an online booking process, not only it's very easy for them to get the result in getting themselves booked into your appointment, but more importantly, they can do that any time of the day. It doesn't have to depend on your staff being there or you answering a phone call or anything like that. They can do that any time during the day. So it's very, very important. People are just, their operating window, if you want to call it that, it's far and wide. So you need to make sure that you are available for them to book an appointment anytime. So that's an online booking process. That's why it's so important. All right. And the other reason is the appointment booking process. Again, people are having less and less time to do things. So whenever they actually make contact with the actual practice itself, right, the staff are not sales trained, typically speaking, right? So this is again something that we do with our clients. We have a whole set of scripts that we have for staff of physio practices to make sure that they have a rough, loose structure to follow to make sure you get them from an inquiry, get a new patient or a call from an inquiry to a booking. So that's another very, very important thing with time becoming really scarce with people as to how much time they want to spend. This is reason number two, an outdated appointment booking process. All right. Reason number three is low visibility online. Now, this comes down to the amount of marketing that a physio practice does. All right. Now, it's more and more physio practices are popping up, everywhere, and I'm going to share with you some figures of that a bit later on. But the biggest thing this comes down to is there is no consistent marketing efforts. All right. Your physio practice is a business at the end of the day, and every business needs marketing / exposure to be visible to someone who's looking to come to your practice. It's very, very important, right? So not just dribs and drabs of marketing here and there, but needs to be consistent efforts daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly, etc. It just needs to be very consistent, right? And another big thing that we find with our clients is Google Map Pack visibility. So you may already know this, but just in case you don't know, if you type in physio around me, let's just say, go Google that, and you'll get a map pack of the physio practices that are around the area. Right? Your aim is to appear as high as possible on that map pack, because once again, with the dwindling amount of time that people are tending to spend online, you just want to make sure you're visible right there in front of you. So because when that happens, what will happen is, firstly, you're visible, number one, and number two is often it's a tool that they use to get directions to your practice as well, or call you or go to your website. Right? So this is very, very important that you appear as high as you can in the Google Map Pack. It's very, very important. Now, I'm going to share with you in a later episode what Google's actually doing with this map pack, as well as some Google My Business additions, but I'll mention that later on. But for this, very important to make sure that you're appearing as high as you can in Google Map Ad. Okay? And organic marketing. Now, it's very important that you do very well on SEO, local SEO. For your area, you need to appear high enough, number one, ideally, right? What we obviously help our clients is to do is get to number one and stay there, because when you have a number one position in SEO, you get the lion's share of click-through traffic, okay? Massive portion of it. About 30, if I remember correctly, it's around 37 or 38% of total organic traffic is to position number one. So you really need to make sure you get there, right? And organic social as well. So this is when you post on Facebook, Instagram. You need to make sure that you're putting out organic content there to nurture your community, to create that consistent bond and closeness really with your practice. Whenever they think of getting some help from physio, they think of you. That's a very important one, right? And what a lot of physio practices get wrong as well is the paid component. It's not enough just to have organic, all right? Organic is quite slow, but it's a slow burn, but it is very powerful. It is the most powerful, especially SEO is the most powerful channel. But that's a slow burn, right? So, but you need to have paid traffic that is boosting traffic anytime that you want. So this is where you do things like Google Ads. Now, you can't just do Google Ads. There's certain ways you have to run a Google ad campaign to make it profitable and make it attractive to the people and the new patients that you are trying to get in front of. And again, with the paid part, there needs to be social as well. Just like we talked about before, there is the organic Facebook, Instagram component. There needs to be paid part as well for awareness and then retargeting and then getting back into your clinic. All right. So these are all the things that we make it a massive, massive point with our clients to make sure we get right from day one. Getting visibility online is very, very important. Right. Reason number four, why a physio practice lose new patients is poor inquiry follow-up. This is a big one, because if you watched an episode before, if you listened to an episode before, you would have noticed I mentioned about there are four main types of inquiries, okay? I'll just sum them up very, very quickly here. Our first one is about 10 to 20% of them, they're ready to rock and roll, they're booking with you, they just want you right now, they're booking. Group number two is that they want to book in with you, they have every intention to book in with you, but they don't really have the urgency to book in with you, all right? Group number three is they have absolutely no intention to book in with you, but they will pretend like they want to book in with you. They're the biggest time wasters. Group number four is they're just mistakes. They just called you by accident, etc., etc. So I just want to mention that because the poor inquiry follow-up is very, very important to the second group. The people who are looking around for a physio, they want to come and see you. They have every intention to book in an appointment with a physio, but they're just looking around to see what's best for them. They want to be absolutely sure that they are. So this is your opportunity to make sure whenever they have an inquiry with you, have a very solid follow-up process with them. Email and SMS. You need to make sure that you're constantly in front of them and to get them back onto your diary to get them booked up. Okay, so it's very, very important. Once again, this is a critical component of what we do with our clients to make sure that any inquiry that comes through, we need to make sure that we capitalize and give that inquiry the best possible chance of being a booked appointment. So reason number four for why a physio practice loses new patients is poor inquiry follow-up. Now, reason number five for why a physio practice loses new patients is poor reputation management. This is quite a big one because there are still massive amount of physio practices out there that are not active in their reputation management. Now, just in case you didn't know what I mean by reputation management, what I mean is literally Google reviews, all right? Now, tell me, how many times have you looked a business up, looked a service up, looked a product up and had a look at their Google reviews? It's a very, very important thing, okay? It's extremely important because the online world has exploded and is going to explode even more, obviously, moving forward. And consumers, new patients are obviously they're just stunned. There's so much choice, right? So, and your role as a physio practice owner is to make sure that decision for the new patient to book in with you is super simple and easy. And one of the most powerful ways to do that is get your reputation management on point. This is something that we work pretty heavily with all of our clients, big time, right? Now, as a side note, by 2025, Australia is expected to have nearly 10,000 physio businesses, right? Which is about a 25 or about a 35% increase from 2021, I think, right? Which is quite a large increment, right? So again, remember I mentioned before, new patients have a lot of choice. They don't know where to go. This is where reputation management is even more important, because it just makes it very simple for somebody to see your practice with so many 5-star reviews and go, obviously this is the clear choice. That is why, because it's like I mentioned, it's very important to just make it very easy for them. And what you really want to do to make sure you take maximum advantage and make sure reputation management is working for you is you need to see that every appointment that comes through your practice as a review opportunity. All right, you need to be on the front foot with these patients, asking them for a review. This is something, again, that we work pretty hard with our physio practice owners as well. Okay, so I really hope all of those reasons gave you a bit of an insight as to why you potentially could be losing new patients. Obviously, we want to make sure that you gain as many lost patients as possible. So if you really enjoyed all of that, I want to encourage you to go to physiomarketing.co. Get in there. There's some great resources just like this one. There's some great videos. There's some checklists you can download. Is a place to really hang out and make sure that you really use the resources out of there to boost your physio practice to be the number one physio practice in your area for new patients. If you have any questions, of course, call us on 1-800-267-877. We'll be more than happy to help you. And if you have any questions outside that, also just email us at info@physiomarketing.co. And one last thing, if you have burning questions or something you want to know about when it comes to sales or marketing, please, give us that question, topic, whatever that may be. Email us at info@physiomarketing.co. We'd love to help you out, especially doing a video just like this or a podcast just like this, just for you. Thank you very much. Until next time, take care.